What is going on? The AFC North was supposed to be one of the best divisions in the entire league. And personally, I had high expectations. I figured, hey, we're going to have several 10-win teams, playoffs, and Lombardis on the line for this division. The Bengals obviously has had a bunch of recent success. The Steelers and Ravens have been incredibly stable, and the Browns have a ton of talent. But where are we at after week 5? An incredibly underwhelming start for this division. It has been an absolute dumpster fire. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Because bad football, some underwhelming quarterback play, and trajectory-altering injuries have made the state of the AFC North painful, to say the very least. So we can't talk about this division without first talking about the historical runt of the litter, the Cleveland Browns. And we can't do that without talking about their quarterback. The masseuse man, the massage marauder, the Cleveland creep, the parlor perv, the master of the grope-a-dope, Mr. Touchy-Feely, the spa savant, whatever you want to call the devilish deviant known as Deshaun Watson. It is undeniable that the Cleveland Browns season rests on him being the superstar that they gave up all that draft capital and that massive contract to. And through the first 2 games, the resounding answer was that this may be the greatest trade disaster in the history of quarterback trades. Yeah, I'm talking, that's including the Russell Wilson trade too. So, allow me to paint the scene for the Pittsburgh game. The Browns had so much hope coming into this. 1-0. You just beat an injured Joe Burrow, but that's okay. Got an injured Joe Burrow, and you throw a pick 6 and you get a fumble 6 throughout the game. The pick 6 was the very first play of the game. Oh, fun fact too, Deshaun Watson also got several fines, including for doing a celebration that looked like he was shooting a gun. Which, yeah, good job NFL. You cracked down on that. You know, not as much on all the other stuff, but all right. Nick Chubb also obviously got injured. He's out for the season, but thankfully his career is not going to be ruined. Now, the one interesting thing about the Nick Chubb injury, first off, you're able to get Kareem Hunt, which is good because he knows the playbook, and he's still a pretty good running back, but obviously not Nick Chubb. But the moment they got rid of that Nick Chubb got injured, the Browns went to a more pass-happy offense, like Deshaun did at Houston, and he looked really, really, really good. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't able to play week 4, so the rookie backup, who everybody was simping over, completely crapped the bed, which is important to note. This is why you do not, under any circumstances, judge a rookie quarterback or any quarterback based off the preseason. It's not a non-accurate way to determine who is a good player. So, what's a good thing for the Cleveland Browns? Well, Jim Schwartz is doing a phenomenal job. The Browns defense, first in overall defense, pass defense, 5th in rush defense through the first 4 weeks. That is an awesome stat, especially when the group did not do that well. So, good job, Jim. You get a gold sticker. Phenomenal job, sir. Now, this is the perception that the Cleveland Browns have had throughout my entire life, and that is that they are a clown show. But thankfully, they are going into a bye week, and that in turn means that they're going to have some time to reset, get Deshaun healthy, and have a good game plan to take back the rest of this division. Because this division is up for the taking. So, who do they have coming out of the bye? Oh, God. Oh, man. This schedule is pretty brutal for Cleveland. You got the 49ers coming off of the bye, but you also got to deal with the Colts, who have been frisky with Anthony Richardson, The Seahawks were a playoff team. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys, who were supposed to be a good team. And then you got divisional games against the Ravens and Steelers. The Broncos and Rams are a lot more winnable, are two games you should win. But this next 6 game stretch is not going to be easy at all. But because you're coming off a bye, because you're going to be able to get a good game plan in, you could go 3-2. It's very possible, and you could use that to build some positive momentum. Or you do the Cleveland thing and you completely collapse, and the circus continues and never ever ends because you are Cleveland. So, but Pittsburgh, you are next on the list, my friend, and that is because after all the talk about how you're going to the playoffs. You're going to the playoffs. You're going to be such a great team. You're going to win the AFC North. You got the quarterback of the future. Everything is coming up yours now. The Bengals are a fluke. The Ravens are overrated. And you, sir, are going to rule the division. But I have cracked the Steelers' secret code, my friends. You want to know how the Pittsburgh Steelers want to win their games? Allow me to introduce you. First off, you need to rush for over 120 yards, and preferably using Najee Ram as a battering ram, going him straight ahead at the line of scrimmage. You also need to win the turnover battle by at least 2. And furthermore, you need to use some Steeler magic pixie dust and get a bunch of fluke plays, either on your special teams, your defense, your offense, or all 3. If 2 of these 3 things are absolutely true, the Steelers, 9 times out of 10, are going to win the game. This is how their team is constructed. Their team is constructed from top to bottom, from coordinator to coordinator, to win via their defense and special teams. And you can see this not just from last year, which I mentioned in my AFC North preview video, but also in the games that they actually played. Look at the 49ers and Steelers and when the Steelers played the Texans. Now you look at those games, those are 2 very similar scores by 2 very, very different opponents. One has a rookie QB. The other one is obviously a contender, not just for the NFC, but for the Super Bowl, with a great roster, top to bottom. So, oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, those games, I had fun memeing on the Pittsburgh fans. There's so much confidence. But here's the thing. When you can't use Najee Harris like a battering ram, and you're forcing Kenny Pickett's played behind, and your defense doesn't have a lead, you just can't win. I'm sorry, you can't. The 49ers took care of the ball, and when your opponent takes care of the ball, you can't run, and there's no big screw-ups on special teams or any of their other units, you're going down. So that's what happened against the 49ers. And the Texans, very similar thing. You see they did not reach their 120 mark. They did not win the turnover battle by at least 2. You want to win the turnover battle by 2 if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the common thread here. You got to win it by at least 2. So winning it by 1 or tying is not good enough for the way this Pittsburgh Steelers team is constructed. They have a ton of their cap money in defense, in their defense. TJ Watt, all their stars there. Their head coach is a defensive coach. This defense is how they have to win games. And when they can't do that, they just can't win. But with the Browns and Raiders games, you saw the exact way that the Steelers are built to win. And mainly that's by even though you didn't hit your rushing threshold, you had 2 turnovers that were not just regular turnovers. It was a pick 6 and a fumble 6. Those are huge, huge, huge plays. So and part of that is your job as the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is basically to let your opponent self-destruct while your average offense carries the day. You're basically the New York Jets. You and the New York Jets are the exact same team. The only difference is that Kenny Pickett is slightly better than Zach Wilson, or maybe he got better skill positions. Point is, the Pittsburgh offense is slightly better than the Jets, but it's still a very ugly brand of football. It's a common thread between the two. The Jets and Steelers, same exact formula. And the Raiders, Pittsburgh won the turnover battle by 3, literally broke Jimmy Garoppolo until he was crying,
"I've fallen, and I can't get up,"
like a senior citizen, and couldn't even play the next game. So that was another really fluke win. Because, spoiler alert, guys, Kenny Pickett ain't it. Even some of the Pittsburgh fans are starting to think,
you're trash, kid.
Because the way he's been playing, it's not been great. But a huge part of that, again, is on this guy.
Get that garbage out of here!
And I agree with Pittsburgh fans when they say that. I don't know why he still has a job with the Steelers. I don't understand it. Why is he still here? Why are you here? Mike Tomlin said there were a bunch of changes coming after that loss to Houston, and that's a whole bunch of BS. Because if you watch that Ravens-Steelers game, oh boy, it was a really topsy-turvy affair. The final score here looks pretty simple enough. Yeah, Steelers won a low-scoring game. Their defense played their job. So, maybe their offense just played pretty well, and they just couldn't. The Ravens just couldn't move the ball. No, it gets so much crazier than that. So I'm gonna go into this right now. I'm hoping some other people do a huge breakdown of this game because, dear Lord, this game was the game. Because when I say that the Pittsburgh Steelers have magic pixie dust, they literally have a bunch of magic pixie dust. So let me set the stage for you. Keep in mind this formula, all right? They got to rush for the yards, win the turnover battle by at least 2, and they need some crazy stuff to happen because their defense has to carry the team. So they won the turnover battle, but not in the way you think. So it was 10-3 in the fourth quarter. Steelers went a 3-and-out, and they punted the ball. Baltimore got it back. Drive stalled out. And there was a blocked punt for a safety. And the Steelers march down. They get a field goal. Then Baltimore, they stall out again. The Steelers get the punt. They fumble it. Baltimore gets the punt back. They drive down the field. They're in the red zone. And Lamar Jackson throws an interception in the end zone. The Steelers march down the field. They get the touchdown. Baltimore gets it back. They have a fumble sack. So they fumble it in their own territory. Pittsburgh gets it back. They try to run out the clock. They get an illegal formation call. So they have to kick the field goal. 40 seconds left on the clock. And the Baltimore Ravens can't move the ball. Turnover on downs.
Game!
And then the Steelers won. I swear, I aged 10 years in one quarter. I didn't even know what I was watching. That's the thing, man. This is just all the craziness that went on. I can't help but feel bad for the Ravens, but also, this is just, it's just disastrous. I don't know what to say. Now, Pittsburgh, the nice thing about you get the third place schedule and all that, but you have some winnable games here. The Rams is a winnable game. Titans, Packers, those are winnable games, and Jacksonville may be tough, but they're not exactly world beaters right now. I know they just beat the Bills, but I mean they've also had their own series of clunkers. So if this defense does have a chance to ball out and drag the Pittsburgh Steelers to a good record to take this division. Pittsburgh has had a phenomenal run in the past, and as if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you probably spend a lot of your time laughing at the garbage franchises. But here's the thing, man.
No,
without that
God!
defense,
No! God, please, no!
you're screwed.
No! No!
And you would be a tank bowl contender. But thankfully, you're not. But Baltimore, you're one of the ones that saved for last because I have a controversial take about you. It shouldn't be controversial after watching the games, but I think it will be. You're an overrated team. I'm sorry. Baltimore, you are. I know you're 3-2. I know you're 3-2, but I don't care. Because let's look at those 3 wins real quick, and let's just do a deep dive on that record. So these are the 3 wins. And when you look at it, it seems pretty good, right? You got those 2 divisional wins, and you know, you got a win in the conference. That seems good, right? But first off, that Houston Texans win was against a rookie quarterback in his first ever NFL game. And on top of it, new coach. Bunch of moving pieces. The against the Bengals, you're going up against a hobbled Joe Burrow who re-injured himself during the game, and the Cleveland Browns had a backup. And that Houston Texans game was a lot closer than people will say it is. Because the Zebras really came in clutch at the end for the Baltimore Ravens. They did. I'm sorry. I watched the game. Houston had multiple chances to capitalize on Baltimore's self-destruction, and they just couldn't. They couldn't get out of their own way. And on top of it, one of their losses, you know, obviously I just talked about the loss of the Steelers, but you know who else they lost to? This guy, Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew for the Indianapolis Colts. That was a gimme game. This and the Steelers game were gimme games. Zay Flowers has been awesome. He has been great. He has been everything a Baltimore fan would want in your wide receiver. But he is not enough. And furthermore, a lot of this comes down to Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. I'm going to be that guy. I don't like the way Lamar Jackson has been playing. Like that week 1 game, you let the rookie quarterback throw for more yards than you. I figured that the Ravens would have a bit of a slower start than people would think because of this new adjustment for Lamar. And I think it's going to take some more time. The jury's not out, but Lamar's looking okay. He's not popping off the screen as much, you know, as like the MVP candidate yet. He's not. And if he can't do that, then Baltimore's in trouble. Because they're giving this guy a lot of money. They had a whole bunch of drama in order to appease him. So, and the injury issues are continuing for Baltimore, even early on this season. Yeah, it turns out Odell Beckham Jr. is fragile, and he's not worth $15 million. Oh, what were you doing, Baltimore? Problem 2 for Baltimore, they got some tough games. You know, obviously you look at the bottom and you see those 2 divisional games, but the Seahawks are going to be a tough game. Titans and Cardinals are winnable games, but the Lions have been playing really good football. They got some impressive wins on their belt. They got pelts on the wall. That's going to be a really hard one. So Baltimore has every chance to continue to work out the kinks and really get into a flow, but you got to start doing it soon. Lamar Jackson needs to step up as that perennial passing quarterback. Because as of now, the results have been kind of mixed. Because this division, again, is wide open for grabs, even at this point. So you're probably wondering, hey man, how much are you going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals? Well, good question. I can't put exactly what I'm thinking about the Cincinnati Bengals right now into words. So instead, I'm just going to let the rest of the video speak for itself.